I thank the witness for coming in today. Actually, the taxpayer advocate is an independent voice, which is well needed, certainly in our society, that defends the American taxpayer. And it's a privilege, Ms. Olson, to have you here and testify today. The complexity of the tax code and the need for the IRS to restore trust underscores that the taxpayers need to have someone fighting on their behalf, and which is why taxpayer advocates do that so well and do it on a daily basis. As members of Congress, we have an obligation to work with the American people and for the American people, and are committed to working with you in your efforts to ensure that the IRS improves taxpayer service delivery. Taxpayer Advocate's 2014 report to Congress highlights unacceptably low levels of service that the IRS is delivering to the taxpayers, with the IRS estimating that it will only answer half of the incoming calls, and those answered may wait over 30 minutes for service. And to give just a short personal story, in fact, when a member of my staff was receiving help for her personal tax return through the electronic federal tax payment system, and it was asked how long she would have to wait to speak with someone at the IRS who could help her over the phone, she was told, quote, "Well, it's really more of an exception that you will get to talk to someone," end quote. I find that extremely troubling in light of the fact that most people, at least people in our generation, believe that you need to talk and you have to have that dialogue to fully understand it. Hopefully there will be a day when a computer can answer things as compassionately and as completely as we would like to see. That's why I think it's critical that the IRS takes to heart the recommendations that you have offered, and the ranking member and I believe that we've got to work in a bipartisan way to not only support those that work for the IRS, but to restore the integrity of many of our federal workers, not just with the IRS. And so we know that that will have a component of financial obligations, which may be painful to my ears, but we've all talked about that going forward. I would like to say, though, that some of these issues, and what I look forward to hearing from you today, are those issues that may not have a direct correlation with the budget. We know that we've got to address that, and as we look at that, and certainly there will be questions on both sides of the aisle as that happens, but I want you to look at those areas that maybe have been systemic in their nature and that have not been a result of just fiscal budgetary constraints. And so as we restore the faith in the IRS with the American taxpayer, I believe that part of that is with a more simplified tax code, one that I would think that it wouldn't be difficult for me or anyone else to be able to figure out how to complete their tax return. Now it almost ensures. Today on tax day, I was on the phone with my son, who was saying, well, what do I put in this column and what do I put in that column? And I said, well, you should have done it a few days before today. But, you know, he was asking me all these different questions. And what I found was, and being a guy who had been in business for many, many years, that I couldn't answer the simple questions of someone who is just now getting to the point of paying real taxes. And he said, man, I can't believe they take this much. And so, Ms. Olson, thank you so much for your tireless work advocating on behalf of so many people who feel like that they are fighting against a machine that doesn't care. And I say that because that is the general view, but I will say that whether it is with your group or with the IRS in particular, I've found that there are a lot of people who truly want to serve this country and do so each and every day. And I think it's important that we address the issues so that the broader spectrum of those who faithfully carry out their duties each and every day do not get painted with that broad brush.